Hey guys, we're here.
What?
This is
Welcome to the
Brian.
garage.
I'm Wes. We're in our garages because this is what we do. This is Third Space Podcast. It's run on passion. It's not run on money. It's not run on sponsors. It's not run on anything but whatever gets up two dudes almost in their 40s at 5 a.m. in the morning to get into their freezing cold garages and to talk about CrossFit stuff. That's what it's about. So here we are.
I
Today
love
we're
that.
talking about the drama trauma triangle. I'm excited about this one. Brian, I'll let you take it over because this is your subject, man.
Cool, man. Cool. All right. So one of the things that you need to think about when you're either a CrossFitter or a CrossFit coach or a CrossFit owner is how to communicate with people and to make sure that you're checking yourself that you're coming into these communications because we're the people business from a place of empowerment or at least a place of kindness. But we're all humans. We could all find ourselves in situations in which could have done better. But realizing where you are in your mentality from a like having words to describe what you're doing helps you realize what you're doing and maybe possibly you could get out of it. So Wes and I were just reviewing, and now we're going to review it live, the drama triangle. So Dr. Kernman in the 1960s created the drama triangle. And then we're going to flip this triangle upside down and give you useful tools so that you can change your mentality. And if you do this, you could help with your relationship with maybe your spouse or your boyfriend or girlfriend. It could help you with how you interact with your family or your parents. It is the holidays after all.
Good
You
point.
could also use this to help your athletes when you recognize it in them, or you could use it for your coaching staff, or you could use it for maybe just how we talk to ourselves. All right, so if you can, I want you to draw an upside down triangle. All right, you did it. From there, you're going to write the word victim. And when I say victim, I mean victim mentality. From this position on the drama triangle, you would say things to yourself like, this always happens to me. This is always how my life is going to be. I'm
Like
always
Wes at
going
the
to
bottom,
be,
right?
yep, just like that. I'm always going to be like this. There's nothing I can do about this that is going to change anything. You are a victim in your own mind.
I'm F.
Not a good, healthy place to be. But you're also communicating that to other people with your words and your actions. You're passive in your choices. All right.
Copy that.
On the top right-hand corner, you're going to put the word persecutor. The
Can you show me how to
persecutor,
spell that, please?
God damn it. P-S-E-C, U-T-E-R. You are persecutor. Damn it, I sell burpees for a living. All right.
Hey, we're in our garages.
Yeah. All right. We're doing the best we can. All right. From the top right-hand corner, you're going to write the word persecutor. This is also a shitty place to be. Doesn't it sound like a shitty place to be? And this is where you are
Really does. Yeah.
blaming other people for things that are happening to them from your vantage point, the holier than thou spot. Oh, I wouldn't have done it that way. And you could take those words and change them around and twist them to be shitty because it's a protective mechanism for you. So if you are interacting with a situation in which you feel affected, instead of being the victim, now you're being an aggressor in a way that's shitty, right? This is still a sucky place to be. It is a protective mechanism for drama and trauma. All right. On the top left-hand corner, or, however that looks in an upside down triangle, you're going to write the word rescuer. And you would say to yourself, yes, there's a hero to the story. No, this is also a shitty place to be. This fucking sucks.
This guy's also a dick.
Yeah, so the rescuer believes that the shitty position the persecutor is in and the shitty position that the victim is unresolvable. So they just fix it for them. You can't do that? I got you. You need me to hold your hand? I got you. Oh, you didn't do this, this, and this, and it makes me frustrated. Instead of communicating that you have needs and wants, you just do it for them. And you just fix the problem. You can't do this? Boom, I got it. Done. Your child's not good at reading. Oh, give me that book. I'll just read it for you. Okay, now write the book assignment. All right, so now you're being shitty. You're just doing it. You're just doing it on the behalf, and there's no opportunities for growth.
I think about the rescuer all the time with my kids. Like, oh, I can't do this, and I want to just do it for them. And I'm like, nope. They've got to struggle through this and figure it out themselves. That's how they're going to learn. And I'll be here if it's like, being ridiculously and taking too long. But to be completely honest, we were talking about this before, Brian, but like, yes, I do see myself show up in these things every once in a while in some occasions for sure, not all the time, but for sure. I think I do a good job of being like,
Oh, no,
instead of
don't
being
worry. There's a
persecutor.
whole nother puzzle.
Oh my God, I love it. All right, keep going then.
No. So, but let's sit on the drama triangle for just a little while. Why is this applicable to CrossFit coaches and CrossFit affiliate owners? All right, let's hit with the victim first. Why is my affiliate always having high turnover rate? So like now you could just be like, you could either say to yourself, that's just the way it is around here. Like, I get
Around where?
Yeah. Why are my coaches not doing the thing, whatever it is? It's so applicable to a CrossFit owner because usually we're holding all the hats. We're managing all of the relationships, and there's never an opportunity to introspectively look at yourself and like ask, why am I responding, pick your scenario, to this in such an emotional way? Why am I
care.
Yeah. Okay. I care. If I care so much, why would they do this to me?
Oh, are we going down the 5 whys?
No, just these are just examples of victim mentality manifesting themselves in an affiliate.
Okay, so then why does it matter to me? Because I care that people understand that they can do what they don't think they can do.
This is a great example. All right, so say you have an athlete who is been overweight or dealing with some mental stuff in regards to pick your poison, and they are coming to you, hey, I want to join Coast Ranch CrossFit because something inside of me says that I need something different. I need something new. I've been doing it by myself for a while and nothing changes. All right, there's some victim mentality in there. And so what they are coming to you with is an opportunity for you to mentor and guide. But if you indulge them, I can see that your frame, it just never, I bet you've been overweight your whole life. You've been pretty sedentary your whole life. You could either indulge their victim mentality and go into the drama triangle with them, or you can hit it from a different angle. We're going to hit it from a different angle here in a few minutes.
Let's hear it. All right.
Same thing could be true of the prosecutor. Same thing could be of the
rescuer.
All right. So do you want to flip this triangle upside down?
Well, I want to hear what you would do now with the victim, instead.
We got to flip the triangle upside down.
Oh, awesome. Okay, let's do it.
All right. So it's going to look like the Star of David. It's not supposed to be the Star of David, but you're going to take that little triangle and we're going to like invert it, but you got to invert it a little bit up so you can write things. So instead of being a victim, what we're going to advocate for ourselves, our coaching staff, our affiliate, our athletes to do is you're going to become a creative. So you're not a victim. You could also use things like a survivor mentality, but I actually really like the creative. And there's many different varieties of the triangle, the drama triangle. But if you're going to have a communication, either with yourself, your spouse, your loved one, your family member, your athlete, your coach, your affiliate at large, instead of being a victim, be a creative. What got you to this mindset, and what can you or we do to change your mindset, come up with positive habit or mindset altering self-opinions that will allow you to grow?
And you're putting that at the top like this?
Yeah, just like that. All right, so the victim mentality would say, this always happens to me. This is how my life is always going to be. I'm always going to be this way. All right, what's some sentences we could think of with that mentality that could be a coach-athlete relationship, a coach-to-coach relationship, a affiliate owner to his people relationship that says, all right, guys, if it's always going to be this way, how do we get to paint the rainbow different? I'm going to let you, what's your first thought? I'm always going to be this way. How can we creatively get out of that mindset?
But that's just not true, because look at all of these results that we have from other people that have felt that way in the past.
Great. So we have some examples of maybe like experiences, and you're like, hey, I know you can't see it, but Joe Schmo over there reminds me a lot of you back in 2019. Now, I know 2019 is like almost 6 years ago, but he's been at this for 6 years. Let me show you something about Joe Schmo. And you pull up your attendance report. And you're like, he's come essentially 4 days a week, every week for the past, I don't know, what's 6 times 365? Like,
Yeah.
it took him 2,000 days.
Yeah.
But look at him now. You don't recognize yourself in Joe Schmo, but I'm telling you, I've done this before. I've seen this happen before. You're not alone. I know
Yeah, it's
you
like
think you're alone.
recognizing how tough this is going to be, because you've seen how tough it is, but recognizing what, or making them understand what it is that's going to be necessary to make that happen, and not falling into their victim mentality as well.
Yeah, you can't go into the fire with them. So as you're looking at someone in a victim mentality, imagine it like a bonfire. Okay. Joel Cochran taught me this analogy. All right. So your bullshit is a bonfire. And by I mean this, everybody's got their own little special bonfire. Some bonfires are fueled by different energies. And you, as the coach, as the friend, as the person that really gives a shit, not someone, because you could be a friend into the and hug them into the thing, right? We've all done that. We found ourselves in that place before, right? That's not where you want to be in the triangle. You want to be outside of the triangle, recognizing your emotional patterns, and then making sure that you are standing side by side with somebody, helping them let that bullshit burn to the ground. Don't put any additional fuel on it. Recognize it for what it is. It is your own bullshit that is untrue, because we're going to creatively get out of this situation together. Now, it's your responsibility, but I'm right here. Look, I like watching bonfires. It's one of my favorite things to do. And then
I just love it because you're laying the foundation of letting them know that this is on you to do the hard work. This is not a magic pill that you're getting while you walk in here, which is what most people are looking for, is they go from one space to another space to another until somebody says, yeah, you're right. It's just not going to happen for you. So you know what you need is this little pill or this surgery or this whatever. Or they're on their last ditch effort going like, I guess I got to do CrossFit. That's the only thing that's going to work. And they're hoping that somehow you're going to say, yeah, it's going to be easy. Don't worry.
Yeah, that's disingenuous.
Yeah, well, it's lying. You're just lying to them. Yeah, 100%. I love this. Okay, so we don't become victims. We get creative. Is that it?
Yeah, essentially, yeah. You always come from the mindset of no matter what's happening. Let's say like it could be a money thing. Man, I guess we're just not going to have groceries today. All right, well, how about you have some? All right, so let's say that you are in some financial strain. There's some real systems in place. We live in the state of California. Go to the food bank. Oh, I would never go to the food bank. Fucking go to the food bank, bro.
Just in line, baby, with all the other cars.
Right, like there's like, so like that's one way to do it, right? This relationship just drains me. Why have that relationship? Because it's my da-da-da from yada-yada. And you're like, okay, well, like, could you think of ways of creatively having open-ended conversation that always allows you the out? Why do you have to hang out with your crazy racist uncle at the Thanksgiving dinner? Just put yourself on the other side of the table and just hit him with pleasantries.
Because it's fun.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's different. That's a different type of engagement, though. If you're coming at it as he drains me, he doesn't understand me, she doesn't understand me, but you know what I'm saying? Like you're hitting him with don't be a victim, be a creative. How can you make a positive situation by you guiding the conversation? Don't let them lead the conversation. Oh, he's going to come in, he's going to talk about some shit. It's going to fucking piss me off because I have different political opinions. All right. Well, talk to them about something that would engage them in a point of happiness and be creative about it and have a game plan. I do not want to, like, doesn't matter your opinion. All right. I don't want to talk about Trump is a theme that's existed for a few years now. All right, well,
Mm.
talk about these cartoons that you all can agree on for as long as godly possible and see how much happiness could be brought to the table. It is a
Yeah, that's
completely
getting
different,
creative right there
yeah,
for sure.
getting creative, create a positive situation for you and the others that are around you. All right.
In Buddhism, we talk about being curious about things like this. And so if somebody comes up to me a lot of the times, and this is like, I'm making the correlation between curious and creative. I can kind of see them being interchangeable here,
For
where
sure.
you see that you're asking questions to find out why this person has this victim mentality or this prosecutor mentality or this rescue mentality, so you can get more creative to help in order to guide them away from that. So I think one of the things that you can do is like, you were kind of doing it with me beforehand, is like the 5 whys, of like, hey, I feel like this, nothing works for me. Okay, why do you feel like nothing works for you? Because I've done X, Y, and Z. Okay, and why did you do X, Y, and Z? Well, because so-and-so told me to do X, Y, and Z. And who's so-and-so? Why would you trust them? Shit, I don't know. It's my sister and she doesn't know anything about any of this, and you're like, oh, okay, cool. So here we are, and I know a lot about this. So let me lay it out for you. And you're not a victim. Here's what it's going to be like. And that might be a way to help you become more creative in your thinking, is to be more curious about why they feel the way that they do. And using the 5 whys might be a way to get yourself there too, if you're thinking, because I was thinking a little bit like creative, that seems a little like open-ended, how do we help people with that?
Another version of the creator mentality is the survivor mentality. And this one's a little bit more applicable to like real drama, real trauma. And what the survivor mentality should say to you is, what has happened in the past does not define me.
Yeah, of course. It almost actually makes me better. That's
Yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah.
And
So, but
yeah.
you can't use your victimness to move forward in your choices. You have
I
to.
remember hearing Mike Tyson say something about this, where somebody said that if anybody does anything to them in their lives, they just kick them out and they're gone and that's it. And I'll see you later and never again. And Mike Tyson was like, you just gave that person full control over you forever. It's better to allow people to be around you and to be in complete control of what they're doing. They can have a victim mentality, they can have a prosecutor mentality, a rescue mentality, but you're so secure in who you are and what you're doing that you're not going to allow their mentality to make you something different.
Right.
That's true strength. True strength is allowing that person to be in your life, be who they are, and it doesn't affect you. Allowing that person to affect you as they walk into your CrossFit gym and they spill their guts out to you and they victim mentality, and you're allowing that to take that on. That's when it becomes a problem. And a lot of us are like, you can't come here, or I
Or
can't
you
deal with this
indulge them.
person.
Oh, you
Or you
really are.
indulge them. Exactly.
Yeah.
And then they stay in your gym forever and it just eats at you and eats at you. What Brian is saying, what we're saying is, somebody walks in immediately, you have to have this like beep, 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 beep homing beacon waiting for that. And you're going, oh, is this, or this? Okay, now let's put the fire on this or the water on this bonfire, right?
Yeah.
And let's stamp this thing out. I
That
love it.
another version I like this before we get to the other 2 sections is the cartoon. I don't know if I brought it up with you before. I think I have. All right, so it's just a 2-dimensional cartoon, nothing crazy, something you see in the newspaper, and there's 2 men in cartoon style. One is in a business suit, looking all ready for life, and another man is homeless in a gutter and not ready for life. And both bubbles at the same exact time say, I am the way I am because my father drank.
Mm.
So like one man found a creative way, a survivor's mentality out of a victim situation. And another man did exactly the same thing because he took on the victim mentality. That's the whole cartoon. So there's a couple of really good analogies here. I don't want to beat this to death, but this is called the victim. This is victim mentality. This is the drama triangle. It all comes from this one place that we're originally focusing on here, but there's still shitty positions that we can fix. All right, so the persecutor. Instead of being a persecutor, be a challenger. So the challenger is going to find themselves in a situation that says to somebody what they're seeing out of them. So let's say that we were saying, oh, I wouldn't have done it that way. Now it's, hey, can you tell me why you did that way? And then from there, we're going to move into the next phase. But there's a bunch of different ways, so many sentences that if you just brainstormed a few, that you moved from being a persecutor to a challenger, you'd find yourself in a position of conversation instead of conflict. Because the persecutor is trying to judge. They're hitting you from a position of as a protection mechanism from you to them or from them to themselves.
Mhm.
How harshly have you been to yourself sometimes? Have you ever said to yourself, Wes, why did you do that? And then you just mull on that shit instead of
No,
challenging
never.
yourself. Yep. It's like challenging yourself to say, like, what mindset was I in that allowed me to think I should, could, or would do something like that?
Yeah, it's
I'd
all
say
about being curious. Like you have these feelings that are not normal. You have this person, you have this movement that doesn't look normal or isn't normal. Let's get curious about it and let's figure it out. And this is what we're doing right now. And a lot of, I think, affiliate owners and coaches would be like, whatever, dude, and move on. It's like, this is you drilling your ability to communicate with potential clients in your gym the same way you drill your eye on the 9 foundational movements. This is just as, if not more important, to be able to understand the victim, the persecutor, the rescuer mentality, what to do when you does see it. The same way when you see knees caving in, you know what to do when you see it.
let's bring it into a coach to coach athlete relationship. Imagine that you saw a coach that you didn't like how they did a class. They were on their cell phone. They were right. No, but this is going to happen. They're on their
Oh
cell
gosh.
phone. The vibes weren't right. They're coaching, but like it's kind of laissez-faire. They're kind
So
of
what you're
mailing
saying
it
is that they're
in.
there, but they're not there.
Yeah, you can tell that they might have had a lesson plan, but they're kind of just using the reps. They're just even if it's not your best class in the entire world, and you're just kind of like going through the motions, because sometimes that does happen. You're doing the best you can. You're doing a good job with the energy level that you have, but you can tell that this one's actually from a position of like, I didn't even want to be on this schedule. Why did Wes
Yeah,
put me on this schedule? Like he knows I don't like doing 5:30 in the morning, and they're
had
just being
coaches like
shit.
that.
All right,
Have
they're being
coaches, yep,
shit. Right,
in there.
and yeah, it's a thing. Now, you could, in that conversation, hit them as a persecutor, or you hit them as a challenger. Like, hey, like when I ask you to coach 5:30 in the morning, what time do you go to bed? What time do you go to bed normally? Hey, like, I just want to know, was there something important on your cell phone that like couldn't be like dropped? Like the kids are sick and you need to like call the school. Like this happened to me yesterday. Hey, I need you to call the school. The kids aren't going in today, and you need to go coach 8:30 in the morning because Maggie's going to be there and she's one of our adaptive athletes. And so my whole schedule changed. So like, and quickly, but I have to be willing to navigate this new thing that is, instead of being like, Liam, why would you up at 2 o'clock in the morning playing video games? Now you're contemplating sick. Or I can just like do as my wife asked me and navigate this new like 45 minutes that has come into my life and figure out the best way forward to do the most good for the most people in the shortest amount of time. This
Let
is
me ask
just
you a question. Do you notice a correlation when you're exercising consistently and hard that this is easier to do, or vice versa?
100%.
Right?
100%.
Me too. When you're saying this, I'm like, dude, when I am like working out with the classes, I'm doing my workout of the day, I'm CrossFitting hard. When these types of things come up in my life, I can handle them. But when I'm not, I've gone a few days without it, or, it's been up and down, or I've been eating like an asshole, or whatever it is, like this stuff, I will dive into it more. And honestly, I don't know the biology behind this, but I think it's just because you're too inflamed. Your body doesn't have what it needed in order to function at homeostasis. So it's trying to use all of its energy to get you back to homeostasis, while all of a sudden this big old grenade comes lobbed in called the
The
victim
persecutor
mentality,
grenade.
or the persecutor or the rescuer comes in, and your body's just like, dude, we don't have the energy to deal with this. So we're going to react. We're not going to respond. So one of the things that I always tell myself is I feel like I want to say something right away is I have to take a deep breath for 7 seconds before I respond. And it looks like this. Go ahead and ask me a ridiculous question, Brian. Something that a coach would be like, oh my God.
Why do I have to do a whiteboard brief? They're not listening.
Yeah, that's a
I'm gonna have to
great,
repeat myself anyway.
totally. That's a great question. Why do you have to do a whiteboard brief? Honestly, so that you don't have to think while you're working out. It's so you can just do it. Your body already kind of knows what to do. I love it because I gave you like 10 words, maybe, of my energy. You gave me a lot of your energy just sitting there waiting for me to answer the freaking question and blah, 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 blah. And I'm taking my time. I'm owning my real estate, not allowing other people to pull me out of it. What I've found since I've started doing this, those people don't ask me questions anymore. Those people, they just do the stuff because they want you to react with them. They don't want somebody to be calm because it's too anxiety provoking for them.
Well, this is the drama trauma triangle talking, right? So you need two to tango. To be in this triangle, this is a conversation of communication. You don't, even if the dialogue is internal and it's you and you, there's still the thought and there's still the receiving of the thought. Or it is an interpersonal relationship thing. It can be on the macro scale. It can be on the one-on-one scale. It can be in group dynamics. All of this is true. You just have to be able to recognize it. And what Wes is suggesting is that we take 7 seconds to give us an opportunity. And he just said, what did you say? You said something, and then you said respond. He said, and react. So what we're
I never want to react. I always want to respond.
That is such a good way of thinking about when you find yourselves in maybe a drama trauma triangle, is that you are responding in a way that you find most appropriate. You're not reacting in a knee-jerk kind of way. All right, there's one last position to be in. And so the victim has become the creative or the survivor or the what's the word that you liked using differently?
Curious.
Or you are being curious to the reasons why you are having this victim mentality sort of situation. And then you are going to move from the prosecutor to the challenger, in which you're going to be inquisitive. You're going to be curious about why either you are having this sort of aggressive sort of reaction as a protective mechanism, or you're going to ask somebody in a way with maybe a 7-second pause as a actionable item to the interaction you might be having either with yourself or with the others that are around you. All right. So the rescuer, instead of being the rescuer, we, the CrossFit, the Third Space CrossFit, the CrossFit affiliate, us, you're going to be a coach. Ta-da! The thing you wanted to be in the first place, the thing that you've built your life around. This is our sweet spot. If you are flexing this muscle, if you're contracting this exercise routine, you're going to move from the rescuer, as in you're going to do that for them, into you are going to help facilitate them doing it for themselves. You're going to believe in the human spirit that they too can do this on their own, but they can do it in maybe a place of guidance, but not trauma bonding. You're not going in there with them and doing it on their behalf, and it sort of looks like that maybe they sort of did it. No.
Well, yeah, like the swim coach isn't jumping in and swimming for you.
No.
They're standing on the outside of the pool yelling at you.
Yep. Depending on where you are, maybe you're a baby swimmer, and they have to be in the water with you, but they're at like hip height, and if they let go of you, you drown. And
they're still not swimming for you.
No,
it's
you're
like
not.
the big thing.
Yeah,
You
have to float. You have to lay with your arms out. You got to be a baby. They got to dunk you every once in a while.
You always say this. You got to be an active participant.
Yep. And then the swim coach gets out of the water, and they're watching your technique, and you go one there and back, and you're like, well, that was a suspiciously poor stroke. Your arm's not even getting out of the water, and the fingertips are still in there. It just looks like a lot of water's moving back and forth, and then it looks highly inefficient. But over time, if you're really with somebody and you're really guiding them in a way that you're on the mountain too, right? I always prefer, like, I love the quote that Rich Froning said, and he was talking about training, but I really use most things that I hear about in my own brain, my hippy dippy brain, is like, I'd rather have a training partner than a coach. And sometimes that could be true too, where you're a really good training partner and you're just slightly ahead of them in regards to your capacity or
Yeah.
where you are on the trail. Let's say that you're going up a mountain and you've already been like up this portion of the mountain and you came back down the mountain, you went up the mountain again, you came back down the mountain, and you're like kind of a guide. You're like a Sherpa. And then it's not that you're going to help them climb up the goddamn mountain. No. If you want to go on the mountain hike with me, you have to bring your own water, you have to bring your own food, bring a change of clothes if you want to. Extra pair of socks might be a pretty good idea. Bring some sturdy boots that are going to keep your ankles safe.
I feel like this is what it takes to train with Rich, actually.
Yeah, right. And then you're gonna go on a trail hike with me. How fun.
I think the most people that will say that, though, that like, hey, I'd rather have a training partner than a coach, are already good coaches. They're just looking for somebody to keep them accountable, enhance their intensity, make sure they're being held to the fire. They don't actually need the foundation much anymore. You know what I mean? And if you do find somebody that's saying, I just need a training partner, and then you're watching them, you're like, no, you need a coach, bro. Like, that's
Yep.
your ego taking over.
Yeah, so there's ways to navigate your own. You can make this an internal conversation, right? Like, so let's say that you're a victim mentality and somebody came and rescued you, and you're now trying to not be rescued all the time because this is how my life is always going to be. This is how my shit always happens this way. And I take no, put me in this situation. And no way. That's just definitely not like this is happening. People are doing this to me. How could they do this to me? So then they get rescued. But what if instead of that situation, you were coaching that person and said, hey, like, eat breakfast every morning. That's it. Like, hey, like, I suspect that you're just undernourished.
Man, I see this a lot in nutrition coaching, like since you brought that up, where like specifically, I think of my nutrition clients I have where it is a lot of that talk. Like, hey, let's add, like, you got sausage in your breakfast? Like, no, okay, let's try that like 2 times this week. And I'm like, how likely are you to do that? And they're like, man, like a 5. And I'm like, okay, well, let's try to get like half a sausage like once this week. And they're like, yeah, I could probably do that. I'm like, sick. That sounds good, And you're just slowly working back and forth with these people, being curious about what it is that's keeping them from getting to the next rung on the ladder. And then you're just there to be like, shoot, that's because that step's too high. Let me put this one here for you instead. Or that step's not big enough. Let's take that one out and put this one there for you. And you're constantly adjusting on the fly because you're curious, because you're creative, because you're not getting in the victim mentality, because you're not persecuting them when they're doing it wrong, because you're not rescuing them all the time. Instead, you're just...
the persecutor example that you just gave for the nutritional conversation is so easy. I told you to eat sausage with your breakfast.
Well, that's what I was going to say. This is when it comes down to like people just giving out macro sheets and being like, here's what you're going to do. You're going to eat this many calories, this much protein, this much carb, this much fat. You're going to do it this times. And if you don't do it, you failed. And it's like, you're setting these people up for failure in a way because they have to be perfect in order to succeed. And nobody's perfect. And it doesn't take perfect results in order to get results. In fact, usually that ends up being negative in the long term. So it's more about meeting the person where they are, knowing where that is in the ladder of actual, whatever it is you're doing. This could, like, we don't have to apply this just to nutrition and that being like, no, 22% body fat is a good number to get people to for wellness. We're talking about like, okay, I've got somebody in front of me that wants to run a next Spartan race. Well, okay, can they run a mile without stopping, And if they can't, do you know as a coach how to help somebody from 0 to running a mile without stopping? If you don't, yay, here's your first opportunity to try it out, to figure it out, to give it a shot, to see how it goes. But before you do that, reach out to somebody, look up stuff on the CrossFit Journal, like find the people around you and the resources around you to make sure that you're doing it well, and get creative and get curious. Don't sit there and go like, nobody taught me how to program. Nobody taught me how to teach somebody to run. So what am I supposed to do? It's like, yeah, you got to go figure it out. You got to get creative and go and figure it out, And I think that if anybody's listening to this podcast, they're probably already these types of people anyways. They're not the victim mentality or anything like that. But if you do find yourself showing up, like I find myself showing up as this in little parts throughout my life all the time, and I can see where
We
I
all
could
do. Same.
definitely better with this stuff, especially in the victim mentality, like just kind of jumping in with them and being like, oh, I totally understand. Come here. Let me just hold you.
Oh,
Let me
yeah.
just make you feel better, and not holding the people accountable to, this is literally our mission statement, holding people accountable to the actions necessary to reap the rewards that we see between our four walls every day. It's like, that's what we're here to do.
You could literally say, we don't tolerate the victim mentality.
Legit. Yeah. 100%. Or the persecutor or the rescuer. And you could lay this stuff out to people in a cool down, while you're sitting there and they're stretching after a workout. You could write this thing up on the board, put up a little Star of David, what I mean? And then put those things in there and just start going over this and be like, what we want here at this gym are the creatives, are the curious people, are the challengers, are the coaches, the creatives. So like and then run them through some scenarios. Hey, next time that you have this feeling that you're not good enough, what are you going to tell yourself? Next time you have this feeling that like all of this is happening to you and not for you, what are you going to tell yourself?
Yeah.
The same idea
all of these
is
things are happening to you and you're not taking the responsibility necessary to own it. Because owning a scenario empowers you to be creative.
It's important that you, as the leader, let them know through your actions with others that when they do own it, they're going to be celebrated and not shunned.
Right? Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, how
That's
else?
what
We've all
happens.
fucked up. Have you fucked up?
But that's what happens. And what happens when most people fuck up? They get shunned. They get yelled at. They get in trouble. They get told never to do it again. They get banished to their room or kicked out of the friend group or never not talked to for a while. There's like you got to go to prison. We got to put people in prison instead of this like, whoa, okay, let's get curious about why that happened. Let's get creative. Let's try to find a way to solve this. That's supporting people in their vulnerability. That's supporting people in their honesty. And that's supporting people at their worst, which will help you in turn make them their best. 100%.
That is that. And we're not saying that every situation is going to result in a understanding. Like some sins do need to be addressed in a way that's like, bro, or young lady, dude, that is actually bad. We're not saying that every situation is navigatable in a way that's like sometimes harsh.
Oh yeah, no, sometimes people are just being jerks and sometimes people just are being ridiculous and you just got to call them out or not allow yourself to become a part of it. You know what I mean? I think a lot of this is having a good system of when you bring people into the gym. How are you bringing them into the gym? What questions are you asking them? Are you trying to pull this out the same way you would take them through an on-ramp and watch their squat, look at their mobility, ask them questions about their nutrition because you're trying to understand where they are in their health journey. It's important to find while you're asking the question, like, are they answering in the victim mentality? Yeah.
Are they standing next to the bonfire? How far into their bonfire do I need to go to pull them out so they could see their own bonfire?
I think it's really simple. It's just asking questions like, what got you to where you are today?
Yeah. Tell me a story.
Well, and I think you'll hear like a lot of either owning up to things that they've done. I didn't eat very well and I know I should. And, I haven't worked out in like 4 years, man, to be honest. So it makes sense I look like this versus, my parents were diabetics. So I tried working out in the past and it just didn't work for me. Like those are immediately red flags to go like, oh, okay, well, so what did you do that it didn't work for you? Can you walk me through that? And then they'll walk you through it and be like, okay, interesting. Have you tried this or that? And you can start to educate them on the things that it takes in order to reap the rewards that they're going after, which is your job as a coach. I think honestly, a lot of coaches just don't know what that stuff is. I remember myself at the beginning being like, why won't this person just follow this macro plan? And it was because I didn't have the education to know how to get this person to follow the macro plan. You know what I mean? So there's that.
That is everything that I know about the trauma drama triangle. I'm still learning every day. I find myself using tools to be helpful to myself. And then I just share that with Wes, and then we've recorded. So it's really two affiliate owners trying to do our best for our athletes and for our coaching staff and for our communities, both internally and externally, and trying to do the most good for the most people in the shortest amount of time. I find that currently I find myself dwelling on, why am I reacting the way I'm reacting? It falls into 3 categories. And when I find myself in that category, I challenge myself to be the alter ego of that trauma, of wherever I am in that triangle. And
it's
that's really how you do it. That's how you do it actively.
Versus the villain. Like, what's the villain that's showing up, and who's the superhero that's going to come and take care of this one, you know?
Right. Because I could be a prosecutor, but I should be a challenger. Okay, I'm being a prosecutor right now. Okay. Oh,
So who is this in terms of superheroes and villains? Let's come up with a superhero villain. Okay. Who's a prosecutor? I know who the victim mentality would be. The Joker is the victim mentality, for sure.
Well, he's chaos, and there's so many different varieties of the Joker. But yes,
but he was always like, I had like such a bad upbringing, and they cut smiles into my face, and this is like all because of my upbringing.
I fell into that vat, and I am now the way I am because of that thing that happened.
Oh, and the persecutor would be like Two-Face.
The persecutor is the Two-Face, because I actually think he's a prosecutor. I actually think that's true.
And then
is that true?
Who's the rescuer though? Who's the villain that's a rescuer?
Well, it's obviously Batman.
Oh yeah.
And the Batman has a bunch of bad qualities about him. Yes. All right. Where you go.
So Batman would be Superman, right?
Yeah, but the Superman's kind of lame. It's not Aquaman.
The Superman.
What if the rescuer is actually the butler guy? The butler guy doesn't get Albert. Right? Because
rescuer's Albert for sure. He's always
because
sorry, master. How can I make this better? Totally.
Which sweet child is this? How you feeling, baby?
Awesome. Who do we got?
I had a sick baby.
Gotta take your temperature.
I think you have a little bit of a temperature still. You do want to go to school because
what's today? The first day of break. Today's break, huh? We started break too.
Yeah, after today, she'll start her break. They have a full week this week.
Oh my gosh! Yay!
Do you want me to drug
You're almost on break.
Do you want me to give you all the drugs and just send you to school like you're not sick?
Yeah.
All right. Okay, go hang on the couch.
Okay. Wait, I need my pajamas.
You already have pajamas on. The Christmas pajamas. Okay. You seem like you're just fine. I'll check your temperature in a second.
Good job.
Like...
All right, man, let's wrap this up. Let's get you in there.
That was adorable. Well, to end on a good note, Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, whatever you're into, Happy New Year. I will not do one of these again for anybody, for any reason. I'm going to sleep in on my Fridays until the beginning of the new year. We same for you?
Heck yeah, man. Let's say that this is the end of season 1. And next year we'll come back for season 2. So thank you for hanging out with us if you guys have, if you've been watching. And do us a favor. Honestly, like the subscribing thing and the liking thing really does help. And especially if you do share it with a friend, it helps us with the algorithm. I know you guys hear this all the time, blah, blah, blah. But why wake up at 5:30 in the morning in our cold garages unless it's actually getting out to people and helping, right? So help us do that.
Yeah, I have a light now. Look at my light. My lighting's better in here. I'm going to have a backdrop soon. I think some Christmas stuff is coming. I think some Christmas
stuff. I put
all
those books there because of you guys. I didn't put those books there because of me, Like, this is like kind of for you guys and to make it a little nice, but also to show you that we're like normal humans trying to do this thing too. So.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
All right. You're the best, Wes.
Yeah, you're the best too. Happy holidays, brother. I'll talk to you later.
Yep. Later, man.